Welcome everybody in. It's your host, DM Livingston. Wake up Waterbury with the Waterbury Times here on YouTube for August the 10th, 2026. It's a Monday, and this week here at the Waterbury Times, it's a week of preparation. Getting ready for back to school in just about 2 weeks or so. Getting ready to vote. Primaries are tomorrow, and we're preparing to find out what exactly happened on South Main Street, as that's just about 30 days ago, the large fire that took place over there. But before we get into all of that, let's prepare for today's weather. And we might be free from the heat wave. Doesn't mean it's not going to be hot, but I don't believe we're going to touch 90. So that's always a good sign. But the smoke might be back. Now we're hearing lightning strikes in the woods, sparks of fire, then the wind starts to blow. So the smoke may be back. So that's our weather for today. So be advised, it should be tolerable, but the smoke might make it a little bit uncomfortable. And today's vibe is it's a focused vibe. We're focused today. So you grasshoppers out there, summer's nearly over. Time to see what those ants are doing. Listen, let's get to the top stories. This week, among other things, we will be following, it's the water safety here in the city of Waterbury. As you all know, last year, we had a devastating water main break, which cut water to nearly 60% of the city. And there were boil water notices, restaurants had to stop serving. And then the question of water safety came out. Shout out to the Waterbury Health Department for keeping us up to date with all the information to the best of their ability, yet somehow they didn't necessarily fully break down what was in the report. Now, we're not going to split hairs here. We understand that there are levels of contaminants that can be deemed safe. So the question last year wasn't, is the water safe? It was, what's in the water that we're drinking or using for that matter. For those that drink bottled water, don't forget, you shower in this water. If you have any pets, maybe your pets drink from this water. You wash your dishes with this water. We need to know what's in our water. So throughout the year, minor water main breaks, nothing that necessitated another boil water advisory, but our newest break a week and a half ago or so indeed triggered another boil water advisory. And our health department came forward again and said, hey guys, no sweat. The water is clean. Yet, they still haven't told us what's in the water. So we are going to be putting forward a Freedom of Information Act because we want to see with our own eyes what is in our water. Okay, it's safe. Cool. What's in our water? So that's our top story for this week. What's in our water here in the city of Waterbury? Number two, the red light cameras and traffic cameras are still causing an uproar in the city. And I don't think it's a matter of the cameras. I think it's the location that they picked. And I often wonder, who are these stakeholders that they speak about when they say, oh, we discussed it? Is this another Ray work, we sent out a survey situation? Because I didn't hear anything about anybody asking anything about where these should go. And don't you think you should ask, I don't know, the drivers in the city that knows where the trouble spots are? So that is really what is having everyone in an uproar, but what is happening underneath the surface? These flock cameras. Now, I'm not sure if we have any of these flock cameras. Those are the license plate readers. So other towns in the state of Connecticut, they're not having it. And this is the power of civic engagement. They're not having it. They have legislators trying to ask towns to stop putting up the flock cameras. Meanwhile, they're rolling out these red light cameras. Could it be they don't need the flock cameras anymore because they have the red light cameras out? I mean, these are questions, valid questions, I believe, that deserve answers. So we will be searching for those answers throughout the week here in the city of Waterbury. And our third top story, just about 2 weeks before school starts here in the city of Waterbury, we have a few questions about, does the AC work? See, when we get to the end of the school year, graduation and prom, and no one really pays attention that some of these schools, HVACs, are shoddy at best. Not to say that they don't work at all, but I'm hearing rumors of sweltering classrooms and multiple fans spinning. Now, we don't make a big deal about it because I'm thinking people are like, oh, it's a couple of weeks left. It was hot when we were in school. We didn't have AC. But now that they go to school when it's August, are they leaving when it's hot and returning when it's hot? That seems stressful. So we're going to be trying to figure out what's up with the HVAC because we remember a lot of money was passed exchanged hands at a Board of Aldermen meeting to fix an HVAC. Kennedy, we'll double back and find that. We really hope that's working. And the bus situation. Remember, Waterbury Times investigates. Where's the bus? We need to understand. You guys know school starts in 2 weeks. We shouldn't have no buses late. And if there's shortages, then let's figure it out now. Push back the start of the first day of school if we don't have enough bus drivers. But let's not have what happened last year, because that was embarrassing, to say the least. And the last thing in the school note is teacher shortages. Are we fully staffed when it comes to teachers? So these are all the questions that we're going to reach out, and hopefully we can touch in with our second year sophomore, no sophomore slump for our superintendent, Darren Shorts, who replaced, what's that crazy lady's name? Anyways, bigger and brighter things, Waterbury Public Education. Now, big conversation time. We're going to take a little trip. We're going to take a little trip away out of the city of Waterbury and go into a state issue really quick. And shout out to Reese on the radio for reaching out and putting this on the Waterbury Times radar, because it deserves to be on the radar. Our Secretary of the State, Stephanie Thomas, she said something that wasn't necessarily true in the way that it was completely wrong and false. One would say a lie in certain circles. Others would say misspoken in certain circles. I think those are blue circles. But in common sense circles, she lied. Now, not that she's a liar, and we have to be clear. People can tell a lie and not be liars. I'm sure she is an honest person, but she super lied. And what I find ironic about it is if you head over to the Secretary of the State Facebook page, their banner says, trusted source. Trusted source of communication. You communicated falsely by saying that a New Britain woman was receiving death threats. Shout out to Reese on the radio, who got to the bottom of the situation to determine that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case even a little bit. In fact, she actually feels pretty safe. Governor Lamont, who I'm starting to think isn't going to be mailing Reese on the radio a Christmas card this year, he kind of doubled down on it by not clearing the air, by sending Reese on the radio to the authorities, in which he did. He probably should have just answered the question, because now it looks worse, and now rumor has it she's doubling down. I particularly don't like that she tried to blame Facebook. Listen, you get a lot of good information from this Facebook, and when we're wrong, we just stand up and say we're wrong. What's happening in the state of Connecticut when I take my eyes off of things? Back to Waterbury. Waterbury life. Over the weekend, you might have seen a gathering at Library Park. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it there, but tucked inside of that gathering was our brand new barbershop that we have on 1015 Meriden Road, saved by Clippers. And we have a nice little story that we put together later on this week. We're going to upload that. Listen, support local businesses. And you basketball players, I get it. Who can I talk? At least get a lineup. For the games. Listen, today's going to be the best day of your life. I promise you it will be. Well, I don't know. I hope it is at least. Listen, I'm going to do what I do. You guys do what you do. And as always, I know you already know by now. Peace, peace.